Jimmy Donaldson, widely known as Mr. Beast, has become one of the most recognizable and influential figures on YouTube. Mr. Beast's rise to fame is characterized by his innovative approach to YouTube, involving elaborate challenges, philanthropic endeavors, and substantial giveaways. His videos, often featuring high-stakes tasks and large cash prizes, have attracted millions of viewers and garnered a dedicated fan base. As of 2024, his primary channel, along with several others, has amassed over 300 million subscribers, making him one of the platform's most subscribed creators. Mr. Beast's impact extends beyond just YouTube. He has launched successful business ventures such as Mr. Beast Burger and Feastables, and co-founded charitable initiatives like Team Trees and Team Seas, raising millions for global environmental causes. His philanthropic efforts and entrepreneurial spirit have set new benchmarks in online entertainment and social media influence. However, despite his success, Mr. Beast has found himself in deep controversy as of late. Allegations of inappropriate behavior by his team member Kris Tyson and scrutiny of his own past actions have raised questions about the integrity of his brand, regardless of the perceived positivity he continues to push. These issues have cast a shadow over his achievements, leading to what seems to be a tragic downfall of the reputation he has built over the past decade. As mentioned, Mr. Beast's journey has not been without controversy, although none of the previous accusations have held much merit as the recent ones. Early in his career, Mr. Beast was perceived as a savior-like figure, using his platform to help others and make a positive impact on the world and the contestants within his videos. His grand gestures of philanthropy earned him a reputation as an upstanding citizen dedicated to bettering the community. He has even been known to reinvest all the revenue earned from the channels within his brand into future videos in order to perpetually provide more and more value to his viewers, sponsors, and beneficiaries within his content. However, the line between philanthropy and entertainment has often been blurred, leading to significant attempted backlash. One notable incident that sparked criticism was his video where he restored the hearing of 1,000 deaf people. While the video was intended to showcase a noble act of charity, it was criticized by some internet users, accusing Mr. Beast of exploiting vulnerable individuals for views. Critics argue that the video focused more on the spectacle of the act rather than the genuine impact on the individuals involved. More recently, contestants of his Mr. Beast games, hosted and funded by Amazon Prime's streaming service, have spoken out detailing their alleged mistreatment during film production. If true, confirming the accusations of disingenuous intentions behind his content.
So today is first morning, I guess it's afternoon now, that I've experienced being eliminated from the new Mr. Beast game challenge. They eliminated 400 people the first day. Those 400 people, the majority of them were forced by the other team members to be on the specific team they were. Some were just about physically assaulted to be put onto one team, which ended up making it the weakest team, since it was a lot of elderly people, petite women, and people that just, they weren't willing to take on 6 guys that were surrounding them trying to take their vest so that they can actually be on that.
But given his overwhelmingly positive reputation and the scale of his projects, so far, Mr. Beast has received a pass for such unhealthy work conditions. After all, it is nearly impossible to avoid unhappy contestants when employing thousands over the years. These circumstances merely highlight the complexities and challenges of balancing entertainment with genuine philanthropic efforts, and of course, running a business reportedly valued in the billions. But unfortunately, this doesn't even scratch the surface. Most, if not all, of Mr. Beast's problems stem from one of his core team members and best friend, formerly known as Kris Tyson, who has been under fire from all directions of social media due to severe allegations. But it all began months prior during his transition into a woman, declaring her new name to be Ava, already setting in course serious challenges to Mr. Beast's brand, considering the implications of maneuvering such a progressive yet controversial subject matter. Kris Tyson's public transition to Ava in 2023, in combination with arguably the largest creator in the world's platform, was already a heated topic online. While many were supportive of her wishes to identify how she saw fit, others argued that it should not have been broadcasted to such an impressionable audience, considering Mr. Beast's abundant demographic of children viewers. Popular YouTuber SunnyV2 shared his opinion on the matter too, merely highlighting the PR nightmare that Mr. Beast may face in the future because of Ava, receiving significant scrutiny. Mr. Beast even responded on Twitter in support of his friend, stating, "Yeah, this is getting absurd. Kris isn't my nightmare. He's my freaking friend, and things are fine. All this transphobia is starting to piss me off." But, as we've already discovered, SunnyV2 was spot on with his take. Regardless of any of our personal opinions on the ethics of Ava's transition, it placed Mr. Beast in a lose-lose situation. By supporting his friend, at least at the time, he will face backlash for encouraging life-altering behavior to easily influence children.
The point is, though, there's a specific type of person that dominates the platforms, and it's becoming really easy to spot nowadays. right? The queen of Twitch, the king of Twitch in a sense, Pokimane. If you even go to, I just got unbanned on Twitch. If you look at the creator dashboard, you see her face right there as if she's the CEO. The #1 YouTuber in the world is MrBeast, and he promotes transgenderism. Pokimane believes in transgenderism. She also didn't call it Kris Tyson. There's a specific narrative that they're so clearly trying to push. The people that are algorithm favored, the people that get banned are always people like me, always people like us, people that love everyone, people that love God, people that want marriage, who want a better society. The people that are allowed want kids to cut their penises off, and that's not an accident. It's very intentional.
On the other hand, if he were to discourage such behavior, he will be labeled a transphobe, and with such a wide range of political views following his every move, he cannot escape the controversy. But as mentioned, Kris Tyson already decided MrBeast's fate by getting exposed for heinous activities with countless minors. The flood of allegations all began with a thorough investigation into Kris Tyson's Discord server, in which he invited young boys to assist MrBeast's video production in the early days of his channel growth. The first victim, Lava, was introduced to the MrBeast empire after he won a giveaway, and shortly afterwards was invited alongside a friend to help set up and moderate Kris's Discord, Twitch streams, among other technical back-end processes. It all seemed relatively harmless at the time, until they reflected back at the conversations held in the private servers years later.
Kris Tyson from MrBeast used me, manipulated me, and did very inappropriate things with me while I was about 15 years old. I was actually friends with Lava GS at the time, who is the main victim of Kris that everyone has been talking about these last few days, who claims he isn't a victim, but we all know he is, and we all know he probably got paid off. Not only that, but he's also under an NDA from when he worked for MrBeast Gaming for 2 years, and he tried to get me to join MrBeast Gaming himself, Lava. He's the one who actually sent me the contract and tried to get me to sign the NDA, at which point I ended our friendship because I knew they were just trying to silence me. Me and him were both initially involved in running Kris's Discord server, helping him set up his Twitch streams and moderating them, as well as other technical back-end things that he needed help with. This Discord server that we were a part of had about 10 people in it, most of whom were minors. I'm not sure how they got in there, other than me and Lava. He won a giveaway and Kris invited him after that, and Kris invited me after I saw one of his tweets asking for help setting up a Gary'smod server for the 10 million subscriber MrBeast video. This turned into us having lots of private conversations with Kris and playing video games with him for hours on end. Not only did we do a lot of unpaid work for him that he promised he would pay us for, he would also frequently bring up sexual topics that was definitely not appropriate to bring up around 15, 16-year-olds, especially with him being like, I don't know, 20, 21 years old. He would even go as far as linking me several different porn and hentai videos throughout the time of me talking with him. Not only that, but he had an NSFW bot in his Discord server before he made it public. So when it was just a private server, his little circle of minors. And he would use this NSFW bot to spam different corn images, alongside all these 15-year-olds. He would also frequently call me dad and daddy, as well as the others, which I guess we all kind of just took as a joke at the time. You have to think this is someone who we looked up to at the time, we idolized, we thought was the coolest person in the world, so they couldn't really do any wrong in our eyes. But looking back, I was definitely uncomfortable at being called daddy by a 20-year-old. Even just thinking about it now, it's just uncomfortable. This server later went public and became his official Discord server, but before it did, he had me and Lava spend multiple days scrubbing this Discord server clean of all of the N-words he had sent in it, as well as his friends, as well as deleting the NSFW channels and making sure no one could see that he was spamming corn to minors.
Evidence of locking the Discord server's NSFW threads was later leaked in screenshots of some of the messages. But, as with many cases involving underage children, they lack the awareness to even know they are victims. That's what makes them so vulnerable to exploitation. And Lava was no exception, for he actually responded to videos exposing some of the early Kris Tyson allegations, stating, "These videos are massive lies and twisting the truth. Ava never did anything wrong and just made a few edgy jokes. I was never exploited or taken advantage of. Can you do me a favor and comment on these videos and tell them to stop spreading lies? This situation takes away from children who are actively being exploited every day online. I am not a victim of anything being claimed in these videos or at all." However, after becoming more aware of what grooming actually entails, whereby victims, many of the times almost becoming indoctrinated to accept certain inappropriate behaviors from older men and women as normal, he realized what was actually going on. Based on the recent screenshots and messages, I would like to say a statement about the Discord Discord. This was 5 or 6 years ago, and I thought I had a good memory of the situation, but I was wrong. After reading the chat logs, this stuff was inappropriate and wrong. I spoke based on my memory of the situation and still do not remember these conversations, but they definitely happened. These conversations should have not happened with people at the age I was at the time. I strongly condemn them. I still believe I am not a grooming victim, but these conversations should not have happened with me and any other minor in this Discord. I was a minor in this situation and not the adult influencer who shouldn't have allowed this to happen. I did not see this wrong at the time. Shortly afterwards, a myriad of other victims wishing to remain anonymous exposed similar scenarios involving inappropriate conversations and exploitation by Kris Tyson while they were underage. From the looks of it, the two would consistently play video games together, and afterwards, Kris would attempt to flirt with the child by love bombing them and parading them with the allure of expensive gifts for their birthday. Not to mention, move the conversation over to Snapchat that cannot be tracked. It seemed Kris Tyson was participating in much more than just a few edgy jokes. The victim said, "I would like to stay anonymous, but Kris Tyson was texting me back in 2020 when I was 14. I'm 18 now. I commented on one of his tweets, he saw it and messaged me. When I was young, I couldn't see how he was grooming and manipulating me, but looking back at it, I can see." Another alleged victim of age shared their experience with Ava, claiming further exploitive practices, but with much more physical consequences, by which, following her own transition, she was manipulated into a one-sided relationship in exchange for the hopes of landing an opportunity to participate in Mr. Beast's channel content. This never panned out. However, eventually Ava coerced her to move in together and act as a pseudo-assistant, providing solely sensual acts. While not necessarily another case of child exploitation, this example did showcase Kris taking advantage of parasocial relationships with fans, utilizing his fame and position in a mega content production corporation to manipulate victims into inappropriate acts while dangling monetary reward. Even Kris's alleged sister added to the story, speaking out against his behavior that predates many of the allegations. "I'm his sibling. He, and yes, I use the correct pronoun, told me that he got fully aroused when he secretly stole my female clothes and put them on. He's deluded and disturbed, and it's 100% a fetish. He's narcissistic, and professionals have told him he needs a full psych eval." Many have questioned the validity of the private user's tweets. However, others have discovered her involvement with Kris Tyson since 2018. Victims and messages in the hundreds continue to surface online, slowly chipping away at any hope for Kris Tyson's defense, to the point where she even stepped down from the Mr. Beast organization to save face for the rest of its employees and leaders. She posted a series of tweets as a full explanation and apology for what has been brought to light. "I would like to apologize for any of my past behavior or comments if it hurt or offended anyone. It was not my intent. Seeing recent events, we've mutually decided it's best I permanently step away from all things Mr. Beast and social media to focus on my family and mental health. I want to add, I never groomed anyone. The person who gets brought up in these accusations, Lava, has vocally supported that they are false. Having said that, I humbly apologize to anyone I have hurt with my unacceptable social media posts, past actions, and to those who may feel betrayed by how I used to act online. To lump these two factors together to create a narrative that my behavior extended beyond bad, edgy jokes is disgusting and did not happen. In past years, I have learned that my old humor is not acceptable. I cannot change who I was, but I can continue to work on myself. I don't want these accusations to impact the hundreds of people who work at Mr. Beast, which is why I've stepped away." Now, while she did apologize for her past behavior and claimed it wasn't her intention to groom anyone, she also didn't necessarily deny any of the specific evidence brought against her. Just as victims are unaware of their exploitation, it's very possible that Kris at the time did not realize his inappropriate behavior was pushing the boundaries either. That doesn't make it right at all, by the way. It is just more cause for delusion of the consequences of his actions, especially considering her outright denial that her behavior extended past just edgy jokes and did not involve any overtly sensual remarks in communication with minors. At this point, Mr. Beast was left with no choice but to condemn her past behavior and launch a full-fledged investigation of the alleged atrocities to save his empire. He tweeted, "Over the last few days, I've become aware of the serious allegations of Ava Tyson's behavior online, and I am disgusted and opposed to such unacceptable acts. During that time, I have been focused on hiring an independent third party to conduct a thorough investigation to ensure I have all the facts. That said, I've seen enough online and taken immediate action to remove Ava from the company, my channel, and any association with Mr. Beast. I do not condone or support any of the inappropriate actions. I will allow the independent investigators the necessary time to conduct a comprehensive investigation and will take any further actions based on their findings." I guess Ava's immediate voluntary leave of the company was all but voluntary, but I think we all know that regardless of the credibility of the evidence, Mr. Beast had to fire her. As Sunny V2 already discussed, it is exact scenarios like this that pose grave issues for his brand. He had to let her go and launch an investigation to save face with public scrutiny, but he also had to keep her around for the last few years to maintain a progressive image of positivity for all walks of life. However, perhaps this could have all been been avoided if Mr. Beast had seen the writing on the wall much earlier on? Or did he know the entire time and just chose to ignore it in order to avoid conflict? Jake the Viking, known for winning several challenges within Mr. Beast's videos, an old friend of Jimmy's, claimed exactly that Mr. Beast knew all along, essentially insinuating that now that all the allegations surfaced, he was merely attempting a massive cover-up. Now, one could say the same thing for Jake considering his tenure with the organization. However, he actually left in 2020 to pursue his own individual ventures and even later joined the streaming and gaming collective Misfits. At the time, he stated that he only left due to the restrictions of free time and that there was no bad blood between them. But maybe he decided to distance himself from what was really going on. After all, previous victims already confirmed that members of the org were required to sign non-disclosure agreements, so likely he wasn't able to share any information anyway, or he would face intense legal action. But now that the evidence has been broadcasted online, he was finally able to do so without repercussions. Other online personalities chime in with their perspectives, like Andrew Tate.
So Mr. Beast's tranny friend, he's been caught talking to kids, trying to fuck children. You know what's most amazing to me about this whole scenario? That nobody seems to point out this guy's name. Mr. Beast. Maybe had any semblance of honor, he wouldn't be accepting all this transgender shit from his friend. He'd tell his friend to step down and be a tranny in private, because billions of kids watch this. And irregardless of my personal views, even if I personally support your transgenderism, there's going to be some young children who watch this show who's going to get confused by what you're doing, and we might cause some distress. In fact, lifelong, life-altering decisions might be made based on the fact that you are being a dumbass, so let's keep this away from children.
And unfortunately, this was just the start of Mr. Beast's allegations outside of simply his relationship with Ava. For the fallout from Kris and/or Ava Tyson's allegations have not only impacted her and the organization, but also cast an eerie spotlight on Mr. Beast himself. As tensions rise, several old clips of his statements and past actions have surfaced as well, potentially swaying public opinion away from the positive individual that viewers have come to know throughout the last few years and towards a more controversial and edgy personality off camera. Notably, Sneeko, successful content creator in his own right, but also past colleague of Mr. Beast, repeatedly claims Jimmy might not be the same person that he portrays online.
When I was working on Mr. Beast, there was a disconnect there, because they would get in there, they would talk one way off camera, they'd say nigger, they'd say faggot, they'd say stuff like this, like everybody does. You know, not to cancel them or anything, but this is how everybody talks off camera. We all say slurs, we all joke around. As soon as the camera turns on, hey kids, we're gonna go and paint our blue face jumping pool circle, boo, ah! And I'm like, this is weird. This is not authentic. It's fake and gay.
Of course, with Sneeko's own controversial and edgy brand, some could argue he is merely bringing other popular creators held in a more positive light than he down to his level in order to make himself be perceived on better terms by comparison. However, actual recorded clips from Mr. Beast's past live streams began surfacing, potentially confirming these statements.
Selling N-word for $400 money? The most I would pay is like $300. Sorry, $400 is just out of my price range for that type of stuff. QQ, shut the fuck up, you stupid faggot. If the video was lubed, how would I call you a stupid faggot? Exactly, it's not lubed, fucking dumbass. N-word, 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 N-word. Thanks, Hustlin, for the donation, I appreciate it. No more, no, boys, no more typing the N-word in chat, no more cursing. Selling 10 for $69 each? That's a steep price. I don't think you're gonna get any sales.
Now, if you were to ask me, Mr. Beast was clearly trolling in many of these perceivingly racist and homophobic remarks, meaning that his responses to chatters within his live streams were not necessarily indicative of his true feelings towards the matters. But again, that also doesn't make it right. I think most people, whether they would like to admit it or not, are guilty of doing the same. However, what this does showcase is the clear discrepancy between the ethical standards of the Mr. Beast brand and his true self, fueling a much broader debate regarding who is actually behind the content that we become so accustomed to watching. And given the severe allegations that Mr. Beast has faced in every direction as of recently, regardless of our own opinions of his behavior, we cannot deny the storm of repercussions he has already and soon will face as more comes to light, especially if we do in fact discover that he did have knowledge of Kris Tyson's behavior. I would not be surprised if his new partner Amazon, funding his upcoming high-budget series, is already discussing pulling the plug on the entire operation, not to mention sponsors of his YouTube network among the frequent viewers. This very well may be the beginning of the end of the Mr. Beast empire, and as the story continues to unfold, Mr. Beast's fate is held solely with the severity of the evidence and how it is discerned by the public. Will he and his company be spared from the allegations due to ordering Ava Tyson's immediate leave, or will the shadows of these controversies cast a permanent blemish over his legacy? I guess we'll find out in the months to come. One thing is clear though, the world of Mr. Beast will never be the same.